Alright, it's time for a double down of Yuengling Traditional Lager. They brought this back in 1987. Yuengling was founded in 1829 by David Yuengling, still owned by the family. Richard Yuengling, the current owner. I poured this in this beautiful glass, and it's a beautiful amber, clear appearance. The head, look at all that lacing. The head is bone colored. I did an initial video years ago, and then I did a revisit, and I was harsh against this beer, and I said it was dull, and I thought they added caramel color. I think I was wrong. I don't think they added any caramel. They knew what I was talking about. Anyway, I didn't say I know they did. All I said was I presume they did. And a viewer said, "You're wrong." And he was sort of irritated, and I think I was wrong. Anyway, I have these. I put some Louisiana hot sauce on, but I have French fries and some butterfly shrimp and some bread and tartar sauce, homemade. And homemade cocktail sauce. I got this at Giorlando's. Okay. I remember going 10 years ago, 12 years ago, driving through the Carolinas or Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey, whatever, and they had Yuengling in the stores, and it would be like a budget beer, like $5.88 for a 12-pack. Now it's $10.49 a 12-pack here. It arrived in Louisiana September 1st, 2016. In 2009, I had it on draft, this traditional on draft at the Inner Harbor, at that mall, you know, by the Inner Harbor in Baltimore, and this bar, and it was so good on draft. It's okay in bottles and cans, I guess. I mean, it is good, but relative to the draft, it's just okay. But that would be the case with any beer. You drink Budweiser out of a can or bottle, it's pretty good. Drink it on draft, fresh, it's like a whole different world. And people that have been to the Budweiser Anheuser-Busch brewery and drank the Budweiser and the Bud Light and the Busch on draft, they know what I'm talking about. It's probably the same thing with Yuengling. They bought the old Schlitz brewery down in Tampa, and they brew beer there now. Here's the old Bomber bottle, brown glass. They still make a 32-ounce brown glass quart bottle, which I'd love to get. 24-ounce can, the old 12-ounce can with the khaki, which is still shown on their website, oddly. And the new, really beautiful label. Same thing here, more or less, but this background of like paneling, redwood paneling, and the trim, it's really fantastic looking. I bought this at the local Shell station, a single. I need to get the green glass 12-ounce bottle for my collection, so I'm going to have to do that if I want to have it. It's an attractive bottle. You really don't want to have green glass because it will let more light in. The beer can get skunked. And you really, really don't want clear glass. These leftovers are good. I prayed already. No, I did not heat them up in the microwave. I heated it up in the toaster oven. It comes out much better that way. Same way with leftover fried chicken. Heat it up in the microwave, it's soft as blah. Heat it up in the toaster oven, it's crispy. So the Lord Chesterfield Ale, I brought some of that back for my friends to try. They didn't like it. They like the Yuengling. The Black and Tan is doing well here. Yuengling, the traditionals, the light is doing well, really well, and Yuengling traditionals doing well. That's what we get right now. Those three. I'm always watching. Been doing this since I started drinking beer in February 1996, at age 27. I watch what people are drinking. So go to the Tulane football games, go to the tailgating, watch people at the game. They're drinking lots of Yuengling Light. They're drinking lots of Yuengling. I see them walk around with cans of Yuengling. Traditional everywhere. Of course, I see lots of people walking around with Pabst Blue Ribbon. That's been going on for a long time at Tulane. Maybe even before the Pabst resurgence in 2010. Maybe in 2000 I would see people walking around with Pabst Blue Ribbon. But it was always kind of a quirky college beer, even after the fall of Pabst. and now the Rebirth. But and if you go down close to Tulane to Snake and Jake's, they still are famous for serving Schlitz. That was always their thing, like 15 years ago. Go to Snake and Jake's and get a can of Schlitz for $1. Maybe I should go to Snake and Jake's this weekend. From what I can tell, this has been a huge hit. Local store, they said the cans are not selling. They bought cases and cases of suitcases of cans. Had to send them back. People come here, they want bottles. They want bottles, 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 bottles. Yeah, at the football game, they're going to have cans because they don't want, you know, the police don't want you walking around with bottles. So, I suspect Yuengling's going to be just, you know, it's going to be a mainstay in Louisiana for a long time. 20 years ago, it was Dixie beer, Dixie Black and Voodoo, Dixie Light, now called Dixie Jazz Amber. But Dixie went down. The company had no money. When the new can standards were adopted around 96, 97, the new design of cans around the country, they couldn't afford to convert their equipment over, so they just stopped selling canned Dixie. Half their customer base was gone. So they were barely hanging on anyway until Katrina finished them off. Now they're contract brewed at Minhas, of all places. Although Minhas is doing a good job, I have to say. Even though most of what they produce is wretchedly, horrendously, incredibly bad, in my opinion. Am I going to be a regular Yuengling buyer? No. Why? Because it's not good? No, it's fine. I'm enjoying it. Okay, it goes well with the seafood. And on their website, they say food pairing, seafood, fried food. Okay, well, it's perfect, right? It's like a perfect beer for this. And I think when I was in Maryland, I had fried oysters and shrimp, like a combo platter with the draft, and it was perfect, like perfect. But if I can go to Walmart and get a 12-pack of Miller High Life for $6.49 as opposed to $12.49 for this, I'm going to go with High Life because it's 4.7%. I believe this is 4.5. That's no big deal. But they're comparable in flavor. They're both made to a very high quality control standard. And that's as far as that goes. I mean, if Yuengling was still at the price point of 10, 12 years ago and was sold at the budget level like High Life, sure, I'd buy it. But I'm doing craft beers all the time. So I'm buying those and rotating those, blah, 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 endless, endless, endless. And then I do the double downs and I do the revisits. And then now sometimes do those project. This is really part of the regular beer project, the double down. It's just the title was too long. Because if you remember early on, I had the malt liquor project, King Cobra, double down. The light beer process, too complicated. But it is part of the project. So with that continuous turnover in the weekly beer reviews, I just get whatever's cheap as standby beers, I call them. And I've tried to go with Rockdale Light. It's now 10. It was 11.26. Now it's 10.26 for the suitcase, which is extraordinarily cheap. But it's just too flavorless. It's too light. I'm not gonna get it. If you like light beer, good value. Go for it. But I've got to have regular beer. And Miller High Life is like the perfect regular cheap beer. Yeah, it's a little roasty. Yeah, it's different than High Life. Obviously, there's a lot of different flavors, but I'm not gonna say it's better than High Life. It's just that has its unique characteristics. This has its unique characteristics. That one is very enjoyable. This one is very enjoyable. That one is $6.49 a 12-pack. This one is $10.49 a 12-pack. And there's your answer. All right, so and that's how we do the trade-offs. And in this case, High Life versus Yuengling Traditional is no trade-off because it's not one is better than the other. They're basically a tie. Amberbach from Michelob. Hey, wait a minute now. That's not a tie. That's quite a bit of a step up. And so maybe once a year I'll pay the $13.99 for the 12-pack. But it's not that much of a step up that I would do it too often. But anyway, enough reminiscing, enough heartwarming tales of lager consumption. Alas, we must depart. So, like good internet friends, and that's sort of what we are, we're here talking beer, we share a beer and we enjoy it. We enjoy the health aspects of the beer and just a general sense of well-being. Hello, friend, and goodbye, friends. Until next time.